Hey guys, as I promised, I'm actually going to make cold brew coffee. My wife's just about to walk in. She won't want to get on camera, but as I promised, I'm going to show you how to make some cold brew coffee today. If you've ever had my cold brew coffee, it is the best, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to make it for you today. I've got a couple of things here that you probably can't see, but I've got my grinder, doing it all manual. Look at that, you know, my grinder. I've got my scales, got to have some scales. Got my little cold brew coffee thing. So this is just, it's got a filter, goes in there, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the most important thing, I've got some beans. Now these beans here, if you know me, I've lived in Bali for a while, and I lived in Seminyak, and just around the corner from where I live was a place called the Coop, and they had great coffee beans. And so I've got, let me just show you these. So these here, they're very dark. They're a little bit, you know, got just a little bit of oily residue on them, but they're a single origin Kintamani bean, and I love them. They're the best ones I've had so far, and so they're my preference, but really it's up to you what preference you have on coffee beans. And so Ash Isbell, welcome. I'm going to show you how to do cold brew coffee, Ash, so glad you joined in. But anyway, the way we actually do this, and really, I mean, it's up to you. You've got to find your own beans, you've got to find your own grind, you do all that to your taste and your flavour. But for me, I do 10 grams to 100 mils. So this container here, generally when it's filled up, we'll do about 700 mils of water. So I'm going to do 70 grams of coffee. And Hannah, you're joining us too. So let's just get everything going here. And my scales, just get them working here. And for some reason, just when you go live, your scales don't want to work. Why is that? Maybe because someone took the batteries out of them. But anyway, hopefully my scales will work in just a minute. And they're not going to work. Goodness me. Just what you wanted. Anyway, I'm going to actually wing it a little bit. But 70 grams of coffee, I sort of roughly know how much that is because I've done it so many times on this little grinder here. But who else has joined me? A few other people. So 70 grams of coffee. I know roughly it's about 4 grinds in this top section here. So we're going to grind it. The other thing is, when you're doing this, getting the grind right. How much, you don't want it too fine, you don't want it too coarse. So that's the other thing you're going to have to do, is work out what your grind is going to be. And you're going to have to watch me do this. But because I've done this quite a few times, I actually went back and forth, got my grind. What are you saying there, Hannah? I feel like you will wing it anyways. Oh no, I don't usually wing it. Really, I don't, because I actually like it to be right. So, but because I've done it quite a few times, I sort of know what this, know roughly what 70 grams is. I'll be within 5 grams. But anyway, so yeah, important. You can use a electric grinder if you want. I'm just old school, you know what I mean? Just a bit old school. Plus it adds a bit of the enjoyment to it. Some of this stuff is not about actually doing it quickly, but it's actually just about enjoying the moment. And I think everyone's got enough time on their hands at the moment to you know, do something that takes a bit longer than normal rather than rushing through it. Who's that? Brandon Chu. Hey Brandon, I know you like coffee. I'll come over to Bali, you can have one of these. So grinding this up, this takes a little while. Hey Henny, how you doing? As promised, cold brew coffee. Who's that? Gareth. Mate, how you doing? Been too long, mate. Been way too long. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're keeping safe. I saw your name come up just recently on a post from another friend, Matt McMaster, about cricket, cricketers he's played with. So good to have you on board, Gareth. I gather you're still playing cricket. Anyway, cold brew coffee. We'll get in there slowly. So let me just show you when we're about halfway at least with the beans. Let me just show you that. So it's going to be a bit hard to see, but you'll see in here. There's my grind. I'll try and get a bit of light on it. And so it's not crazy fine, but it's not ridiculously you know, not ridiculously coarse either. And so with the cold brew thing I've got, just put it into this little filter This is about half of it. This is probably about 35 grams, give or take a little bit. So it ends up going in this little filter here. I'll show you that in a minute, but let's do some more grinding. Who else? Anoma, a few other people, Joseph, yeah, jumping on board. Let's get some more beans here. As I said, I use beans from the coop, which was where I live, just around the corner. You might have your own favourite beans. For those that have just joined us, I use a fairly dark single origin. I'll show you again for those that missed it. They're fairly dark. You can see they've got a bit of an, you know, that glisten to them, a bit of oil on them as well. But these are ones I prefer. But it's up to you. Up to you how you want to do it. When I actually did mine, I can't remember what it is, because for me, I'm not one of those, like Brandon, if you're still online, you're one of those coffee guys that knows all the ins and outs. I'm not that sort of guy. For me, it's like I taste it, and if I like it, that's the one I want. But I took this and get tested. They do some testing. I can't remember what it's called, but it came out for those coffee people at a 1.9, which was perfect for what I wanted. So, but it's up to you how you want to do yours. But we're getting there. Need a bit of a workout today on my grinder. Plus, it's a bit of fun. And so, if you haven't done this, do leave some comments. Maybe you've got your own way of doing it. For me, I thought it was going to take ages to find the way I like to do it, but I sort of fluked it with my grind and with my beans and the time that you leave it, because that's the other part of it, how long you actually leave it to actually brew. For me, I actually leave it about, I'm not going to tell you exactly because that's a secret. No, for me I leave it about 20, 21 hours. I know some other people leave it 24 hours, and you can do that, and I've done that with mine, and it's a bit stronger, but for me I prefer about the 20, 21 hours. It's not quite as strong, and it's a bit smoother, and so that's my preference, but up to you. But about that, around that 20 to 24 hours is going to be pretty good. So now if you actually tuned in yesterday at our thing, Josh said he's actually going to be doing, I think is what, eggs and something tomorrow, 10 a.m. And I promised that I would do coffee, so I'm getting mine ahead of coffee, because you need coffee first. It's a Monday. It's one of those days where you sort of, for me, I relax. But I am nearly done. We're nearly done grinding to an accurate measure of 70 grams of coffee. Well, basically, for those who've just joined us, 10 grams of coffee to every 100 mils is what I do. As I said, everyone has their own recipe, but this is my secret recipe. Not really secret, is it? But it is how I like it. So basically done here. Just finish these last little beans. And nearly. And we're done. Old school grinding. Okay. So there you go. There's some beans in there. Hey Crystal, glad to join this. Leo, mate, I got some cold brew tomorrow. If you're in Bali, I know Leo's in Bali, you can actually come round. Here's the deal. If you're actually in Bali, you actually live here in Bali, 20 hours from now, what's that make it? What are we at the moment? Just after 10 o'clock. So 24 hours will be there. So what's that? Well, 10, that's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll have to be getting this out of the fridge, 6, 7 o'clock. Here's the deal. If you're in Bali, if you come around here, not at 10 o'clock, but 9 o'clock tomorrow morning in Bali, if you're here in Bali, now I'm only going to have 70 mils of it, 700 mils of it, but if you're in Bali, come around to my place, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you can have some of this coffee. But anyway, so there's the filter. It's got the coffee inside there now, and you can do this a number of ways. For me, sometimes you can just put all the water in. I actually prefer to pour the water over this a little bit first to try and get that through before I put all the water into the into the unit. There is a lid that goes on it, but initially, so I've got some water here. I've got 200 mils in one jug, 500 mils in another. So what I tend to do is grab the smaller one. I'll bring this up to camera. I just hold it here, and just for the first little bit, just to get some water through all these beans, I just do it really slowly, just pour the water into it. I just prefer to get some water down into here first. I mean, I've done it the other way where I've had the water already in the jug and then put the grind in and then had to move it around. But I sort of feel this way, you know, I'm just making sure that right from the start, and you can see it dripping through at the bottom there, hopefully. Let me just go here a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, look at that. There's the good stuff. So this is what I do. I just tip the 200 mils in there first, really slowly, otherwise it will just go all over the top. I put the lid on. There's a little lid section for this, for the grind. Let me not drop this at the same time. That goes on, and you can see that's how the lid is. Now, the last little bit, I've put it more, now I'm holding it from the top, it's sort of more down in there, and you can do this, you'll work it out. I'm just putting the last little bit of water, which is 500 mils, which you can't see this, sorry it's off camera, but trust me, that's what I'm doing. And this is the last 500 mils of water, so 700 mil of water. And I think Kevin's just walked in, he's going to enjoy some of this tomorrow too. You're a coffee man, Kevin?
Hot coffee only.
Hot coffee only. Well, tomorrow you're going to try some of my cold brew, Kevin. I think you'll really like it.
Look forward to that.
It's
Complicated.
no, it's not complicated. Not complicated. But anyway, so we've got so now you can see it's actually quite full. It's got if I pull that out, that's where all the beans are, and you can see it's now full, 700 mils of water. So now I put the lid on, which has got a little plastic lid. That just goes on the top, and then it just seals down. This just seals down over the top of the bottle. You can see that there. This is just a rubber lid, and it's got a little cap. And then what I do just to finish off, I actually hold the lid on, and I just give it a bit of just to get those beans sort of mixed up a bit. And now it's a waiting process. So now that's done. That's all it is. That's all it is to make it. And what's that taking us? 5 minutes, maybe a bit longer, but hey Pierre, good to have you on board. Leonie, have you on board? Oh, you love cold brew. But it's cold in Geelong, yeah, well it's not cold here in Bali, you would know that. But now that's done, all you got to do now is put this in the fridge, and for me, as I said, I'm 21 hours, so that'll make it around 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and so, yes, I know, it's good. Thanks Pierre, you should drop over. Tomorrow, if you're in Bali, look, now I can't promise anyone, if you get 100 people here, I'm not going to have enough coffee. So if you're in the first couple of people here at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning at my house, and if you know where I live, you know where I am, you will get to try this actual cold brew coffee, and then you can tell me what it's like. We'll go live tomorrow again at 9 o'clock for those that will be here. But that's it. That's how you make cold brew coffee. Experiment, have fun, you know. You'll stuff it up sometimes it'll be stronger, sometimes it won't be as good. The only other thing I do when I take this out, because when you take the grind out tomorrow, obviously the water level drops. Now this is purely preference. You can tend to put some ice in there, or just put some water in there as well. Obviously putting water in is not going to make it as stronger, but you can just do that to taste if you just want to make it go that little bit further. I tend to just put some ice in there so it gets it up, and obviously it's similar to putting water in there, but that's what I tend to do, and I get this nice cold brew coffee. So thanks for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed that. And we'll see you if you're in Bali tomorrow. For those in Australia, sorry, but next time when I'm in Australia, I have to do it. Hey Melody, good to see you. I'm just about to go. I just made some coffee, but you're going to have to go back. Hey Toby, good to have you on board. Toby, who just came up there, great coffee guy. So if you know Toby, you know he's into coffee. We are human, all that guys. But anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you. Stay safe. And I'll see you tomorrow, because we're going to go live 9 o'clock. If anyone's here, whether they're not here, I'm just going to drink it anyway. So tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, come and join me. If not, see you next time. Bye.